One more plate. Sir. She was a thief, you gotta believe. She stole my heart and my cat. Hello.
Hey. What you doing down here?
I am.
Is this your Potter away?
Yes.
Where's the phone?
What do you mean, where's the phone?
There's like supposed to be a camera somewhere, right?
There's a camera right there.
Oh, hello. Hello, camera.
Why are you running away from the camera?
Because
Since when are
I'm
you
not potting.
Since when are you camera shy?
I'm not camera shy. I'm also just not potting.
Well, neither am I. I don't have any viewers anyway, so it don't matter. Sponges, sponges, sponges. So, how was the gym?
I didn't end up going.
Where did you go?
They were leaving as soon as I got there, so
Oh.
I just went to get food.
Oh.
And I think we're gonna hop on some video games.
Okay. Well, have fun with that then.
Actually, I'll just, I apologize to any viewers who hear some incessant swearing.
Okay. Well, I did check the "It's not for children" box, so I think it's fine. Oh, everything is uneven. That is not a good sound. I don't like that sound. And okay. So hello. Nobody has joined me as of yet, but you know, I might actually leave this video up for people to see. So, oh, look at that. That doesn't work very well if I've got the bucket right in the way. I'm excited that this works, though. This is really cool. Trying to wedge clay on the bat insert is not optimal. Also very frustrating. I don't even know what I'm throwing today. I'm just kind of trying to practice. I haven't thrown anything since the bee jar last week because I've had so many things to catch up on, glazing and trimming and whatnot. So I feel like I need to throw. I'm in a kind of a bummed out mood today because my Ambien, like, they won't let me refill it until it's absolutely empty, 100% empty. And so last night I had no Ambien, and I have narcolepsy, and really, really super annoyingly, one of the symptoms of narcolepsy is insomnia. Thus, I take Ambien for it. But I didn't have any last night to take. So I freaking just sat awake, staring at the ceiling. I was determined not to have my phone or any other screen type device in the bedroom, and I did not. And so that part was good, but yeah, couldn't get to sleep till after 2:30 exact. So again, just coning up here. Trying to get all this wobble out of the clay. And then just squeeze it back down to compress it, get it all nicely centered. Apparently, at the community studio I go to, there are some like super duper green beginners, which is cool. Like, everybody gotta start somewhere. I am definitely still a beginner. But like, somebody was saying that one of the people was asking why they couldn't just open it up while it was tall. Oh, hi, Lucky Phil. Thanks. I didn't even see you had come in. I'm just sitting here just talking away. Just blah, blah, blah. Anyway, these folks could not understand why the instructors were telling them that they couldn't just open the piece right after it was coned, like while it was still tall, because they were like, oh, I want to throw a tall piece. Why can't I just do that? Well, the reason is because the process of coning it in and compressing it back down is what actually gets it centered. So then they proceeded to ask, well, why do I have to have it centered? Well, I mean, it's art. You don't have to do anything. But if you want it to be symmetrical and even, and have well balanced sides and all that stuff, then you gotta center it. It's gonna do what you want better if you center it. That's just how it goes. Hi, Jeff. How's it going? You'd be proud of me, Jeff. I was just mentioning how I was absolutely bent and determined that I was not going to have my phone in my bedroom last night. And I didn't. I still didn't sleep. I didn't fall asleep till 2:30. But yeah, me too. But I needed a break, so I'm down here throwing a pot. And I like how I just did a whole thing about why you gotta have it centered. And my piece is bloody not centered at all. Yeah, I banished my phone to my office last night. And I was like, okay, no matter how hard I find it to fall asleep, I'm not gonna go get it. Well, exactly like you feel. Yes, it doesn't need to be centered, but I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of throwing it on the wheel if you're not going to center it, right? I mean, I guess if you're going for something round-ish and not completely round, but I would say that that's actually harder to achieve on purpose. Now, it's easy to get an uncentered piece by accident, but if what you're going for is like, oh, I want it to be wonky, but I want it to be wonky on purpose, just hand build it. Don't see, this is an example of not centered. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep working at it until I get it the way I want it, because this is why we practice. I'm out of practice, thus my piece not getting centered. Is it normal to sleep to Gilligan's Island? I would say yes. I have I have fallen asleep to, like, podcasts and live streams and whatnot many a time. So yeah, I would say that yes, it is totally normal to fall asleep to adventure club shenanigans. Sorry, this is not exciting yet, but part of the issue I surmise that I'm having with this particular lump of clay is that it's not, I didn't really wedge it very well. Oh, it's at 4 a.m. Well, I mean, well, yeah, oh, right. Lucky Phil, you're like in Australia, right? So again, yeah, I would say that is, I mean, you know, is normal. It might not be the healthiest thing, but my understanding is that by and large, sleep is bad. All right, sorry. Screens are bad for your sleep. Yes, I like the Calm app as well. I actually like the sleep stories on the Calm app. In particular, I like Tom Hiddleston reading Winnie the Pooh. Just because that's just really fun, and he has a lovely, lovely buttery voice. But I think most people that they get to do readings for the Calm app have lovely, buttery voices, because otherwise, like, you don't want Gilbert Gottfried trying to do a meditation. Okay, take a deep breath. Breathe in and hold it. Right, exactly, Lucky Phil. Yes. So it's all about when the live stream starts for you, I guess. So I often have found as well, like if I've had a particularly, I mean, not just a bad day, but like a traumatic day, like, you know, the not fun to talk about kind of day, that having something on in the background is literally the only way I can sleep. Because otherwise what happens is as soon as what'll happen is I'll try to do the healthy thing and, you know, read a book or something like that. And as soon as I start to doze off and drift away, my brain kicks into can't sleep, clown will eat me mode. You know, so if I've had that kind of a day where like real icky bad stuff, the keeping you awake at night stuff has happened, then yeah, I may as well just move to the couch and throw on a movie that I've seen 100 times or something like that, something to engage that part of my brain so that it has something other to do than wake me up. Yeah. Particularly Whose Line, like the old Whose Line episodes, because like if you go all the way back to when there was like a British dude hosting it, like before Drew Carey, and man, it was much more posh than it is now. It's like, but you know, still had Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles. It's very strange. Those guys like don't do anything else. Fun fact, Colin Mockery has performed live at Dad's Garage Theater here in Atlanta many times. to the point that they have like so their new location is in an old church, and so they kind of leaned into the whole church thing, and they put up a mural that looks like it would be in a church, but it's clearly Colin Mockery. Yes, I like the deep sleep body scan also. I do not want to be in Colin Mockery's head. There's just way too much crap going on in there. Sure. I would get lost in there way, way, way too easily. So right now, aside from just running my mouth and talking to you guys, what I'm trying to do is really manhandle this piece of clay, woman handle, this piece of clay to get it so that I'm eliminating that wobbly thing going on and getting it properly centered so that I can actually make something that might look like something. Again, I think I'm having as much trouble as I am for two reasons. One, it's been too many days since I actually threw something. Two, I didn't wedge the clay well enough. Would it be easier to just start over? Possibly, but I mean, for the wedge portion of things, I'm gonna have just as hard a time. And I mean, and obviously, it's good practice either way, which is all I'm really trying to do here is practice. If I were doing like production work, like, say I wanted to throw like 10 mugs or something and make them all, kind of similar, then for sure I would, because this much working of the clay is, I mean, it's fine. The clay can take it. Although clay does have a memory. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but like, when you squish clay into a certain shape, it wants to go back to that shape. Did you guys see that? My freaking sponge. I'm trying to clean off my wheel, and the sponge just went pew. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, then I will need to retrieve that at some point. But for right now, I'm gonna get back to this. So yeah. Mainly, yes. If I were trying to do production pieces, I would have started over, because this much up and down and squishing around of the clay is going to change the amount of clay I'm actually working with. Like I started with 2 pounds. I would guess that if I were to wire this off and go weigh it right now, which I'm not going to do because I finally got it pretty centered on the wheel. Yeah, mishaps and pottery. Exactly. If I were to go and weigh this, it would probably be closer to like 1.5 pounds now. So because of all the extra like coning and centering I've had to do. But yeah, that was really funny because like I couldn't do that again if I tried because like it shot the sponge off, it bounced off the window and then went behind the table. So yeah, go figure. All right, so this is actually centered enough now. So I'm going to drop a hole. Bloop. And the way I like to do this is I like to start off by kind of finding the middle with my middle finger. And you when something is spinning around, you can feel like, oh, I'm in the middle now. It's like you can feel on all sides of your finger, like, yep, I'm touching the middle. you know. I'm sure there's a much better way to describe that. But, anyway, so I just kind of poke down a little divot in the top here. And then I take my two thumbs and just start widening it. And see, I can feel the issues that I had with wedging it, or rather the lack of wedging it. Getting centered. Yes, exactly, Lucky Phil. It is. This is a very like sort of meditative and centering process, honestly. So yeah, I'm just kind of poking down with my two thumbs, trying to get it as deep as I want it. I don't want to go all the way to the bottom because then it's not a pot anymore. It's a planter. You know what? Like you felt I was A, working, and B, also like I had a meeting. They called it a town hall meeting for my company today, where they like required everybody to be there. So yeah, and it was at noon my time, which is like right smack in the middle of TMS. So I missed like everything beyond the little animal quiz thing. Basically everything after the break I completely missed because I was in that meeting, and then like the stream went down or something. I don't know. But I'm listening. I'm in the process of listening back to it now. But I am always bummed when my titles don't get picked also, because I'm like, that title was funnier than y'all acted. You know? But, you know, sometimes. Yes, Jeff, those are scary. And it was a scary meeting. It was basically one of those meetings where it's like, okay, so the economy sucks and our business is suffering as a result. So, yeah, things are going to suck for a while. Was kind of the gist. But, I mean, they were kinder and more executive-y sounding about it and stuff like that. But oh, no titles. You'll get no titles. Oh. Wow. So they should have done something like, you'll get no titles, no post show, and no Lieutenant Yar. Oh. Oh yeah, and my son, I think, is in there playing League of Legends, so he says to apologize in advance if you hear him like swearing or whatever because of gameplay. But I was like, okay, well, I checked the not for kids box, so it's okay. I never know if I should do that or not, even like with the videos and stuff. I'm like, okay, I don't swear or do anything explicit, but it's also not made for kids. So I'm like, what? I don't know quite what y'all are looking for, what YouTube is looking for there to define like for kids. But I figure, okay, well, be on the safe side. I'm not making this for kids, but you know, it's not, explicit, but it's not made for kids. All right. So what I'm doing now is, frankly, being lazy and not checking that the bottom of my pot is where I want it. So I'm going to not do that. I'm going to do right. So taking my pen tool. I can tell by looking at this thing that the bottom is way too big. But yeah. So you see how big that is? That's probably like, I don't know, like over an inch. It's definitely over a centimeter. So yeah, we're gonna flatten this. Oh, I see. It turns off comments. Yep. Okay, good. So I chose correctly then. Apologies in advance. Yep, for his gamer words. Exactly. Well, and also just like background noise, because y'all have met me. I'm a loud person. So like, you know, my son gets it honestly, and if stuff starts happening in his game that he's not happy about, then, or that he is happy about, you know, you'll hear a woo or a let's go, or, you know, whatever 18-year-old gamer kid would say. See, this is way longer than anybody who like is actually proficient at this would be taking to do this, but again, I'm just practicing. I'm just having fun. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so see that is a much more reasonable bottom. It's actually still pretty thick, but I like that because then I have had let's effing go. Exactly. I have had the experience of, while trimming, poking through the bottom of my pot. And it's like, okay, well, guess it's a planter now. Gotta like a reasonable bottom. Exactly. Yep. Chuck is taking a workshop next month, I think. Maybe it's later this month. I don't know. Anyway, sometime this summer, he is taking a workshop that at the community studio that, I'm not kidding, is entitled I Like Big Bowls and I Cannot Lie. So the reason Chuck is taking this workshop and I am not is because it is required, prerequisite, that you be able to throw at least 10 pounds of clay. And I'm like, nope, can't do that yet. The yet is the operative word. I will get there eventually, but no, I have yet to successfully even throw something that was like 5 pounds. And frankly, at this stage, it's not really my goal. I'm not really trying to throw big. Might get there at some point, but that's not really what I'm trying to do right now. Right now, I'm trying to throw consistent. So, yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm just opening this hole of the pot a little bit more. And what I like to do is take my hands and just take, this is my dominant hand, and so I put that inside the pot, and then I just pull that, you know, straight back into the palm of this hand. And you know, again, trying to apply even pressure. I have slowed the wheel down a little bit because that is also important at this stage. Just because of centrifugal force or centripetal force. You know, if the wheel's spinning really fast and you're trying to throw something that's like a cylinder, if the wheel's spinning really fast, your walls are going to go whoop, and you're going to get a bowl whether you want it or not. Yes, regular pottery is and can be good exercise. I've certainly noticed my arms are a little stronger, although I tend to do this. So I put my elbows in, so I'm not using as much of my arm strength as I am just my body weight. And it tends to help with centering and applying, even pressure. Ugh. Okay. Give me a second, y'all. Unfortunately, I have to do a search and rescue on my sponge now because there's a lot of, you guys can't see it, but there is a lot of moisture on the inside of this pot. And I need to sop that up. So give me a second here. Where the heck did it even go? Oh my God. It's all the way back there. I have an idea. I'm sure you guys can tell that this is all set up in my basement, which, I know most streamers do stuff in their basement, but like they also have things set up in a pretty and attractive way. And this is legit just like basement-y basement. But I do have an advantage because of it being a basement-y basement. I can find just crap like this laying around where I can try and use it to retrieve my sponge. Turn the wheel off, so I'm going to be down here by the pedal. Oh, no. What I should do is fetch the teenager and make him reach under here and get it for me. But he's probably busy. Okay. Ew. Now everything's all gross. Yuck. Okay. Get all that grody nastiness off of my sponge. Ugh. Sorry for throwing in shorts today instead of my usual overalls garb. It's hot. I didn't feel like it. Just, if I'm just being honest, I just didn't feel like putting on the overalls today. But Operation Search and Rescue was a success. I'm going to attempt to not do that again and actually hold on to my sponge. That happened one time when I was outside. And I was, because like our cleanup area is literally just our backyard with a hose. So I just take the buckets and all the stuff and just hose it off down there. And I was trying to get all the excess goop out of my sponges. And I had like the hose there, and I'm just firing it away. And then all of a sudden the sponge just leaps out of my hand and goes way back into the back of the woods. I had to go looking for it. Like you'd think I would learn. But I feel you. I don't have functioning knees. I don't have functioning knees or hips. So yeah. I feel that. All right. But now Now it's time to pull some walls. Y'all ready to pull some walls? Me too. Hips do lie. All of your joints are bloody liars as you get older, and it's really annoying. And not only that, but they're just mean, you know, like stuff that you used to be able to do and you just can't anymore. Like when I was a teenager, man, I used to dance a lot. I can't do it anymore. I mean, you know, I still have the moves, but my joints make me freaking pay for it. So it's rather unpleasant. So what I'm doing is I'm just making a little groove right there at the base of my piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my walls here. I'm just going to stick my finger into that little groove. And what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to squeeze the clay. And this is going too fast. I'm just going to squeeze the clay mostly with my outside finger and just move that little ridge up the piece. And right now, it looks like all that's happening is I'm getting slip off of the side of the piece, which is fine. That's fine. But eventually I will pull it and it will give me some height. So, and I like to suck up the excess moisture each time I pull the walls. Yoga does help. That's true. I have like PT exercises that I do for my hips also. Which like this whole setup is actually very challenging for my hips because like where the stool is hitting the backs of my legs and stuff and where I have to bend over because it really helps to just get your whole self over the wheel so you can really see what you're doing and also use your body weight for it. So I try and like get as much over it as I can. But that motion puts a lot of pressure on the back of that leg. So yeah, I try and do some of those PT exercises that I have for my hips. But I'm not very consistent at doing them. I should be. I would feel better if I did. Man, taking care of these meat sacks as we get older, y'all. Freaking kids don't know. Young, you know, like people like my kids who are like 18 and 16. They have no idea how nice it is to just not have to think about what your body can and can't do. And like, they can eat whatever the crap they want. They can. Whoop! So, what I did there was I got too thin in the middle. There was a whole lot of clay on the top and a whole lot of clay on the bottom. And it just went bloop off into my hand. So this is going to be similar to one video. I posted like a time-lapse video a while back ago where I started with like something that resembled a bowl. And then by the end of it, I had this little teeny tiny like little itty bitty vase of a piece because that was all the clay I had left to work with. But I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going with this piece. And oh, here, it's right here. I'll show you this little thing. This little teeny tiny thing. It's garbage. It's in my, this is clay that we need to reclaim box. But that's one of the things that's nice about this as an art form is that you can dork around with it as much as you want. And at the end of the day, it's just clay. It's just clay. Reclaim Icor. Ah! Funny. Reclaim. I didn't even think of that. So the reason that happened is I think I was applying too much pressure to the walls. So I'll try not to do that again. But there's still plenty of clay down here. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of clay that I can work into and try and pull up a little bit, see what I can do with it. And again, that's all I'm doing is practicing. But yeah, if you had to wear like the piece collapses on itself or falls apart like that one just did, or even you make something and wire it off and then decide later you just hate it, so don't fire it. Don't put it in the kiln. It's fine. As long as you don't fire it, you can go through the reclaiming process. I'm going to giggle every time I say that now. Damn it. So you had a bad clay. And sometimes that really is the case. Like sometimes you just get like there's like a little artifact in there or some extra grog or something in the clay body. And it just messes the whole thing up. And there's one guy at our community studio who says that like clay will never no ball of clay will ever successfully make a thing until it's been reclaimed at least twice. So like you gotta be willing to kill your babies, as they say. But that is definitely not this. This is just practice. My baby right now is that bee jar. And I'm excited about that. I'm going to do more glazing on that sucker tomorrow because we're going to be at the community studio where the glazes and where there's quite the rainbow of glazes for me to play with. I have some upstairs, so I can do it, but yeah, and deal with the clay's memory. Exactly. So the clay having a memory, tends to be more of an issue with hand building than with wheel throwing. But it can be an issue because, like I say, once the clay gets bent into a certain shape and then dries a little bit in that shape, it tends to want to go back to being in that shape. So in other words, like let's say you've rolled out a slab or something, or, even you're trying to make a little pinch pot or something. As you pinch the sides up, it's going to remember where your fingers were. And, so you've made a little dent in the piece there. And unless you really take steps to work that little dent out, then the clay will tend to want to go back to that state. I know that sounds so weird, but it's true. I've seen it happen. So there we go. We got a little bit of height on this. Not a lot, but a little. So what I'm doing right here is what's called setting the rim. So I'm just taking my 2 fingers and just pinching. I'm trying to pinch straight up and down. Keep it in one place. And then I just apply very, very light pressure on the top with my sponge, or you can use your finger. It doesn't really matter. And that makes the rim a little more even all the way around, so that you don't have like issues where one side is taller than the other. Which, if you look at the mugs that I made for Scott and Brian, that I brought to them in Vegas, they are very wonky in that way. Like, they are lower on one side, but I won't try to claim that I intentionally threw them that way, but I will claim that I made the choice to keep them that way because they look more like the mugs in the TMS logo being kind of wonky and crooked. So there you go. I've still got lots of clay on the bottom here that I feel like I can pull up, but it's getting rather thin on the top. So I'm trying to be a little careful with it as I pull it up. So and one thing you can do also, if you want to, so you can see how there's little, this is like, speaks more to that clay memory thing. The clay is kind of telling on my fingers here. So you see where there's a little bump right there? That is where I released the pressure. I got scared because of what happened earlier, and I released the pressure too early on that piece. And so, you know, if you really want to see, and I'll do this at the end, if you really want to see where you need to improve and, you know, what your fingers are doing that is causing you to not get the results that you want out of the piece, cut it in half at the end. Now, obviously, then you don't have the piecing. There's no putting it back together, but it does provide a good lesson in what your fingers are doing. So let's say if I wanted this to actually, instead of being this kind of weird, like cup-ish or bowl-ish shape, you know, see where it goes, it flares out at the top. And then, you know, if I wanted it to be a straight up and down cylinder, what I can do is I can take this, it's called a rib, and just take my sponge on the inside and just gently encourage the clay so now the sides are straighter. I don't know if that translates very well on camera right there, but there's definitely much more definition are much, much more straightness of the sides here. So yeah, I'm just sort of holding the straight rib in place and then letting the sponge on the inside push the walls out. And that helps to straighten it up a little bit. Get the excess moisture out of here. The reason that you want to get the excess moisture out of the middle of the piece is because, if you leave a blob of clay in a bunch of water, clay's going to break down, right? So same principle here. If you let a lot of moisture pool in the inside of your piece, then it'll end up kind of seeping through the bottom. And again, you'll end up with a planter and not so much a pot. So there you go. It's all right. Okay, so let's see. I got about 3 minutes left here before I need to head back upstairs and get going. So let's do the thing, shall we? Let's do the scary thing and cut this baby in half, and let's see what it looks like. See where Amy went wrong. Bring the wire halfway and then go boop. So, come on. Gonna fight with me for taking you apart. So, there you can see the insides. And here's where it's telling on me. It's very thin right here. And she got a thick bottom. So, yeah. So that is what I need to work on. I need to work on practicing really bringing the clay up from the bottom and into these sides, so we don't get too thin of sides, because that's literally what happened when half of the clay went flying off. But I think that was fun. So I might not have thought it was that much fun if I were really trying to make a piece and not just practicing. So yeah, it's my pleasure, Jeff. It's cool for me too, because I feel like a crazy person when I sit down here and throw and I just talk because like nobody's there. So it's fun to have other people here. So yeah. And I like to do this when I'm just practicing, because then it lets me really see. Like I cut this directly in half, but you can kind of see where it wanted to go whoop, like it's not. There you go, see? And so there you can kind of see where my fingers were, a little too timid. And then, it just thinned out as I pulled up the sides. So here, this is a cool thing that I saw from another part, an actual, professional potter that I saw on YouTube. If you want to check him out, the name of his channel, I think, is Earth Nation Ceramics, but he actually had a piece cut in half like this. And he did the thing where he kind of pulled up the clay like he was pulling it with it cut in half like this. So yeah, and it, had much more dramatic results when he did it, because he knows what he's doing. But I'm learning. So yay. So thanks for coming to hang out with me while I learn, guys. And yeah, I'm going to attempt to clean off my hands enough to shut down the stream, because y'all don't want to watch me clean up. It's not that exciting a process. So, but thanks. This was fun. And I'm going to find a regular time. This is probably a decent time, because I know Scott is not streaming right now, but I'll check. And And we'll do this regularly because I need to practice regularly. And I like having people to hang out with. Yay. Bye. Ah. Need to figure out a good way to do that. So y'all aren't looking down my shirt while I reach for the thing to end the stream. Okay, bye.